Hey everyone, Mr. Clutch here. Going to do today's hindsight recap in a video, and we're going to go over both SPY and QQQ today in the same video. Just get it all in one, just make it easy to watch one video. So I've already got our zones marked, doing this via Casey's method in the Team 2 trading Discord. And so we've got our zones marked out here, and so let's look at the day as we open here. So, overnight we'd gap down a little bit, and we kind of climbed back up into open here. So there wasn't really anything I was watching definitive out of the open, but we start climbing. We hit this zone a little bit. Someone with a quick trigger finger might draw a flag there. Someone like Jay Pool in our Discord, and he's probably all over this one. I usually don't, especially coming into this zone. So probably waiting here, but that would have been an excellent move. Probably the best move you could find of the day, to be honest, right there, because it happened quick, happened fast, and you went from that was a $2 move or more in the matter of 30 minutes. So excellent move there. After that, I'm not gonna lie, it got kind of difficult looking back in hindsight. There's not a lot of great opportunities, because once you're here, you could draw something like that, but I don't know that you want to take this trend line here back into the zone where it already stopped once. It's kind of like the moves a couple of them we saw yesterday. We know we hit the zone and it rejected us. So do I want to play into that again? Not really. And it did exactly that. So there's not much of a move to be had there. So then you're kind of just watching here, and so it's such a steep drop. There's really no way to catch anything there. You could have had a trend line down here, I believe. You could have looked at something like that. You got your 2 wicks hitting it. If you catch this fast enough, because that thing was falling fast, but that's a difficult play to catch it on the break of that trend line as fast as it was falling. And you've got so much here. You've got the 48 down here. You've got this little zone here where it just kind of basically back tested there. So the double top though was that there. You're kind of maybe feeling a little more confident. So you could take that trend line if you had a quick enough trigger finger and breakdown, and it would have played out well. You just need to be ready to have your stop ready and stop out if it flips back on you. So then there's really not a trend line coming from this top to bottom. So normally what I try to do here is let it reset. So as we're climbing back up, look how fast this was. You're not going to see many V-shaped formations that fast. So even on the 2 minute. So, I didn't expect this thing to just go straight up and make a new high a day. So it's somewhere you think it's got to give you a little bit of a pullback. Even these are okay. You could zoom in here and potentially, play something across here, but I don't love that. I kind of want to see more of a flag, and this is a flat top here. Got 5 touches almost across here, so you get something pushing up, and it's you're thinking, hey, we're going up, but I still want to kind of see a true point to connect, and that happened right here. Then it flagged back. You wouldn't even have to draw to that point because there was basically the same thing. It was this flag here, came back, wicked through the 13, came up, and it's breaking out off the 13. You can enter here, and this is probably the second best move you could catch confidently off the day if you were doing things carefully and meticulously. You get up here up the top. We reject at the top. Somebody might want to draw this, but again, we've already hit the top of the zone. I want to see us get above it before we start doing anything. So then you're doing the same thing over here, but on this part, but it's the same thing again. We've rejected a second time, so I'm not confident that if we do break out here that we're not just going to stop here again. So then you're kind of just watching this up and wanting something to come back. So here we go. We've got it up. Now we're up. Now we're looking for the pullback. Pulls back. There's not a trend line there to be had. So you're kind of just letting this chop out. Drops again. Keeps dropping a little more. Not a lot here to draw out. You could have had a bigger trend line maybe down here. But even this, we're still in a pretty nice upward trend for the day. I don't know that I want to try to catch the downside. Sometimes you can and you can catch the big one, but even that, it's not the strongest trend line for me. I'd like to see multiple touches along the way. Then it breaks down, and you might feel a little more confident. So it kind of comes down here into the 13, and you're still just looking. Now this one here, because we've cleared this up here, we've kind of expanded this area from here down to here. There's a little more room here. So I'm fine drawing this one here. There's multiple touches on the way down. It breaks up through the 13, even comes up through the 48. There's a nice dollar move there towards the end of the day that you could have caught. So again, it's for going up so much through the day, like, what we started at 411.50 and $5 move. It was tough. There was it wasn't like a nice clean walk up the 13 and give some flag entries. It was up and down and all around, and so it was a little more difficult in a typical $5 day. And then on QQQ, there was actually something here I noticed early that you could have caught. There was just almost like a flag coming out of the open here off of the, I wouldn't really call it a flag. It was just kind of a nice trend line that held here the whole way up throughout the early morning. But even then, let's zoom in on the open here. These wicks and everything here, I'm just letting this play out. I don't want anything to do with all that. So what I am watching those right here, you kind of got these little points here. You can kind of draw a trend line through. This is kind of peeking through it, but even then it's like, because you got wicks through it, I don't like that. But if you get this trend line right in here, you got your touch here. You can even bring it down to the top of this candle. You've got 3 touches there. You've got some wicks through it. You've got this here. I like this play. This is one I think has a little, after we came down, came back up, reclaimed the top of the zone, back tested into it, held. Now we're going up off the 13. Break it out here. There's your best move, the down SPY. On Q. Q's there. So I like that. I like that trend line right there. And even without connecting the points over here, this is kind of a flag right here that we would look at taking the breakout on. So then we run up, and you may stop out here, but if you rode that and just kind of looked at the bottom of your zone, or the 13 as your stop, you could let that ride up. I think with this big reversal candle here, you'd probably stop out somewhere up here if you were still in the play. So then we pull back. You're out of the play here, and you're just watching. There's not really a trend line I like here. The next thing I would do, and I actually did this today, is draw this line right here. And this actually was a nice trend line break. There's a lot going on here, and in all reality, if you get in down here where it's crossing, that you may have stopped out for a little gain here, but all you do is readjust, and it's kind of like that earlier when we showed you really don't even need that top connecting point this time right here, because you've got a nice flag. Volume's pretty low compared to where we've been all day, and so it's breaking out. It wicks off the 13. It's even letting this candle close, it's above the 48. You get in here and you ride this up, maybe get stopped in here, but really you could ride it all the way up to here until the 13 actually gets touched. So there were a couple nice moves. I think Q's had a little bit better opportunity to capture on a couple of the big moves, but the rest of the day after that, I didn't really like any of this. In hindsight, there's a nice one. You could get in here and get a little bit out of that before the end of the day. But once you get into this, and this is what you're looking like in the last half hour, this is when you just close your computer and go, because you're basically just playing to get lucky in here and hope something sells off or rockets up at the end of the day. So overall, a couple nice moves. Not the easiest price action day for the big moves. What Q's go today? We opened somewhere around 320 and closed at 320, so almost a $2.5–3 move as well. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you can kind of see after the fact what we're kind of looking at. Again, it was a tough day, so don't be too hard on yourself if you didn't turn out green today, even with the trend. Sometimes it's frustrating to look back and go, it moved up $5, but I was red on the day. And but on days like this, it can be tough. That's why you have to find your move and kind of get out sometimes when there's not a clear trend. You could look early in the morning, and if you did catch this here, and then you look back in an hour and you see this is what it looks like. there's no clear trend here. And even going from here from 320 to a $2 move, I mean, you can see up every little push up, there's giant candles down. I mean, even look through here, giant reds, and so I would go back, look at your charts this weekend, study them, see what you can learn. You can go back through the week and just kind of play it back and practice. That's what it's all about. That's what we're doing all this for, is the more screen time, more seeing the candles and the price action, the easier it'll become. So anyways, everyone have a good weekend, and we will see you on Monday.